The summer sun hung high over Maple Grove, a tidy suburban enclave where manicured lawns and picket fences whispered of order and pride. I never imagined I'd become the neighborhood's unlikely champion, but sometimes, being a decent human being is enough to spark a revolution. My name is Daniel Harper, a retired Navy SEAL turned middle school CIVYCS teacher, and this is the story of how I took down the iron-fisted queen of our homeowners association, Evelyn Caldwell. It all began on a radiant Saturday morning in July, the kind of day that begs for open windows and the hum of lawnmowers. I was sipping black coffee on my front porch, savoring the quiet, when I noticed young Liam, the 9-year-old son of my neighbors, hard at work in their front yard. Liam, a bright kid with a heart bigger than his small frame, was arranging painted rocks into the shape of an American flag. Each stone was carefully colored crimson red, stark white, navy blue, his hands steady with purpose. His mother, Claire, a single mom pulling double shifts as an ER nurse while her husband served overseas, watched him with a tired but proud smile. She caught my eye and explained that Liam wanted to honor his dad for Independence Day. The rock flag was temporary, just for the holiday weekend, nestled in a modest flower bed by their driveway. It was patriotic, heartfelt, and utterly harmless, a child's tribute to a hero far from home. But in Maple Grove, joy has a way of attracting trouble, and trouble's name was Evelyn Caldwell. Evelyn, or Karen, as the neighborhood whispered behind her back, had ruled the HOA with an iron grip for 4 insufferable years. In her late 50s, she was a VY shown of curated perfection, sleek athleisure outfits, a platinum bob sharp enough to cut glass, and a white Mercedes SUV that prowled the streets like a predator. Her obsession was the 500-page HOA rulebook, a labyrinth of regulations she'd practically authored, enforced with the zeal of a dictator. No mailbox went unpainted, no shrub untrimmed, without her approval. As I lingered on my porch, I saw Evelyn's SUV glide to a stop in front of Liam's house. My gut tightened. This wasn't going to end well. She stepped out, clipboard in one hand, phone in the other, her face already twisted into that sanctimonious scowl she wore like a badge. "Excuse me, Claire," she called, her voice dripping with false sweetness, the kind that masks a venomous bite. "What is this clutter in your yard? You know all lawn decorations require architectural committee approval. This viola section 53.2 of the bylaws." Claire, bleary-eyed from a night shift, tried to keep her composure. "It's just a temporary project Liam made for the 4th of July, to honor his father who's deployed. We'll take it down after the weekend." Evelyn's lips pursed, her eyes glinting behind oversized sunglasses. "Rules don't bend for sentiment, Claire. This needs to be gone by sundown, or you'll face a $75 daily fine." Liam, kneeling beside his creation, froze. His small face crumpled, eyes brimming with tears as the weight of Evelyn's words sank in. Something in me snapped. I set my coffee down and strode across the lawn, planting myself between Evelyn and the rock flag. "Morning, Evelyn," I said, my voice calm but edged with steel. "Beautiful day, isn't it? I was just admiring Liam's work. Pretty impressive for a kid, don't you think? His dad would be proud." Evelyn's glare could have melted asphalt. "This isn't about patriotism, Daniel. It's about property values and standards. If we let one person flout the rules, chaos follows." I took a slow sip of my coffee, meeting her stare. "Funny you mention the rules. I've been reading the bylaws, riveting stuff, and I don't recall anything banning temporary holiday displays. In fact, Section 29.4 allows reasonable seasonal decorations. Care to point me to the clause that forbids a kid's tribute to his deployed father?" Evelyn faltered, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. She flipped through her clipboard, pages rustling in the tense silence. Bullies like her thrive on intimidation, banking on people's fear or ignorance. But as a CIVYCS teacher who'd spent years studying constitutional law, I knew the HOA's limits better than she did. When she couldn't find her precious rule, she pivoted. "It's a safety hazard and disrupts the neighborhood's aesthetic harmony. As president, I have the authority to flag violations not explicitly listed." I raised an eyebrow, feigning surprise. Is that so? Because I thought discretionary powers required a board vote and formal amendment to the bylaws, with notice to all homeowners. Did I miss that memo? Claire and Liam watched from their porch, hope flickering in their eyes. Evelyn's face flushed a furious shade of scarlet, clashing horribly with her lavender tracksuit. I'm warning you both, she spat, jabbing a manicured nail toward the flag. That eyesore is gone by noon tomorrow, or you're looking at compounding fines. And Daniel, watch yourself. Your porch light's been flickering, and I've clocked your trash cans out past regulation hours. With that, she stormed back to her SUV, Leah vying a trail of indignation in her wake. I reassured Claire and Liam that we'd fight this, urging them to take photos of the project for proof. What I didn't say was that I'd been quietly compiling a dossier on Evelyn's reign of terror for months, her selective rule enforcement, procedural oversteps, and outright lies. Neighbors had slipped me vy denke, fed up with her tyranny. Liam's flag might just be the spark we needed. The next morning, Evelyn returned, flanked by 2 HOA board members who looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. I was out front, ostensibly pruning my roses, but really keeping watch. To my dismay, the rock flag still stood not out of defiance, but because Claire had been called to the hospital for an emergency shift, Leah vying no time to dismantle it. Evelyn marched toward the yard, her posture radiating menace. I warned you, she declared to no one, as Claire wasn't home. Per HOA policy, I'm authorized to remove this violation. Before I could cross the street, Evelyn began kicking the rocks, scattering Liam's painstaking work across the grass. The board members shifted uncomfortably on the sidewalk, clearly horrified. I whipped out my phone and hit record. Evelyn, I called, my voice steady but firm. I'm documenting this. You're trespassing and destroying private property. Stop now. She spun around, eyes wild when she saw my phone. How dare you film me? That's an invasion of privacy. Turn it off. I kept the camera steady. We're in public, Evelyn. No privacy here. More importantly, you're vandalizing a child's tribute to his father and trespassing. That's not in your job description. One board member, Tom Reynolds, finally spoke up. She's right, Evelyn. This isn't protocol. We needed a written notice and an appeals process. Evelyn's composure shattered. I don't answer to you. This neighborhood was pristine before people like them started ignoring the rules. Just then, Claire's car pulled into the driveway. Liam, clutching a grocery bag, saw the wreckage of his flag and burst into tears. Claire's face hardened, a mix of exhaustion and fury. What have you done? She demanded, her voice trembling. How could you do this to my son? Evelyn sniffed, unrepentant. You broke the rules and ignored my warning. This is your fault. Claire's next move stunned us all. She pulled out her phone and dialed 911. I'm reporting a trespasser who vandalized my child's art project. They're still here. Evelyn's face drained of color. You can't be serious. I'm the HOA president. I was enforcing standards. I couldn't resist. HOA rules don't trump the law, Evelyn. You don't get to storm onto private property and destroy things. The wait for the police was electric with tension. Evelyn oscillated between threatening lawsuits and pleading with the board members to back her. They stayed silent, sensing the tide turning. When Officer Martinez arrived, he listened patiently, reviewed my footage, and took statements. His jaw tightened as Liam, voice shaking, explained the flag was for his dad, who's fighting bad guys far away. Ma'am, Martinez said to Evelyn, based on the EVY Denke, you're under arrest for criminal trespass and vandalism. HOA rules don't give you the right to destroy property. Evelyn's shock was almost comical as handcuffs clicked around her wrists. This is outrageous, she shrieked. Do you know who I am? I'll sue you all. Martinez, unfazed, read her rights as she was led to the squad car. Evelyn's downfall was swift and brutal. The DA pressed charges, bolstered by my VY Dale and the board member's testimony. She was sentenced to 120 hours of community service, ordered to pay $600 in restitution to Claire, and fined $1,200 for criminal mischief. But the real blow came at the HOA's emergency meeting, where she was ousted as president in a unanimous vote. Her perfectly composed facade cracked as she grabbed her designer purse and stormed out, her reign of suburban terror reduced to ashes. Maple Grove hasn't been the same since. Liam's flag was rebuilt, prouder than ever, and the neighborhood feels lighter, freer. Sometimes, all it takes is one voice to remind people that rules don't outweigh humanity and that even the smallest acts of courage can topple a tyrant.